Hey guys, good morning. So it's Sunday, November 4th, I believe it is. Really excited for today's video, and I'm not sure where it's going to go. Really a lot to talk about. Yesterday was a really cool day, and God, there's so much to say about it, I guess, but and take away from it. So let me tell you a little bit about today, though. So today's really cool for me. We set the clock back an hour last night. Kids and I have already had breakfast. And we're about to head out here shortly for our first, just like I had my eyes open on the journey to our first church service together as a family. So, and one of the really neat things this morning in particular, as I've gotten back on the journey, um, a lot has happened with the kids kind of gradually getting um, into things. But one of the things that's happened is I got a lot of people who give me um, little either trinkets or memories along the way, and I always want to share all my kids. And today, over the last couple of days, that started to happen. In Holbrook, Arizona, I bought my daughter a little stone. She's into stones called Tiger's Eye, a Cat's Eye. And in St. James, Missouri, Chief Gene Rourke and Cowboy John um, had given me a hand carved arrowhead, and I was able to share that with my son and tell the story. And that's what's been so special about this journey for me is how these stories just kind of come to my kids on a daily basis and about the people I've met. One of the things that's special about that is I'm holding in my hand a Holy Bible. I readily admit my knowledge of the Bible is about zero. Um, and but this was given to me in Bristol, Oklahoma, by Henry and Sharna. And you'll read about that story in the book. And when we go to church, I'll be bringing this with me. Because one of the things I've always prided myself on is kind of being, or educating myself on things, not just having an opinion. I think half the problem with a lot of things in life is we establish opinions on very little knowledge. And even in my younger years, I was guilty of that in voting. I would vote basically on one platform, and that was it. So the fact that I'm at least allowing myself and my family to get a little more knowledge so we can make our own decisions and be informed, I think it's pretty neat. And along the journey, there was a certain spirituality, and there was a lot of people that have complete faith and belief in God and their own, and I certainly respect that. And for me, I was blessed that not a lot of people, really nobody, really tried to pound it home, but the underlying tone in a lot of folks was that. And the one thing I really remember about talking about the Bible and was a young lady I met on the journey in Joseph City, Arizona. Her name was Christy, and her and her husband Aaron, young people. But what I loved about Christy and talking with her, it was one morning we were up before everybody else, and very spiritual, very believing in religion. But Christy didn't just take what was told to her. She immersed herself and educated herself and developed her own opinions and her own answers, or found her own answers. And that's what I think has been, and that's going to tie into something else here in a little bit. But that's what I think is so fabulous. For me, one thing people don't know about me, my reading comprehension is terrible. I don't know if it's lack of focus. As you see in my videos, people tell me all the time, they feel like I'm that little kid from the movie Squirrel. Something distracts me and off I go. And that's kind of the way I'm reading. I sit down and I can read 10 pages and I'll remember the first two. And after that, I don't know why that is. If you talk to me and tell me, I remember that stuff. If you've heard me talk about my memories from 35 years ago, I can remember time and place. The challenge with that as it comes to things like religion is, there are so many things that are I don't say open to interpretation, but that are based upon your interpretation. You could take a news story, you could take scripture, you could take anything and ask five people, and five people may have different opinions of it. And to me, that's always been one of the biggest challenges about the Bible is people take a little bit of knowledge. Dr. Phil's always saying that people find a verse that they believe and they spin it to fit their agenda. And what is truth, what is word, who knows? But that's what I'm hoping for myself today. My whole journey, as I talked about things, has been trying to open people's eyes to things, not to tell them you should think this way or you shouldn't think that way. But here's what it is. Here's my slant on it, and you guys take and choose what you want out of that. And so that's kind of what today's going to be. So I'm excited to share that with my kids. And then yesterday was really remarkable for me. So the whole 6 degrees of separation, my family and I were invited over to another family's home, Kelly and Jason, and Kelly had become a follower of the journey and lives about a half hour from me, and they invited us over for dinner, and it was what I hoped that this journey would be, me getting my kids to meet people that have been good to me. Kelly reached out to our mom in Albuquerque, and I spent the night with the mom and stepdad out in Albuquerque. In fact, I think I spent 2 nights with them, and a great family, and it was great to just watch the kids play and experience some people that have been good to me. I had never met these folks before, and if you know how how she came to know me, before my journey started, the very first people, the first strangers that I didn't know that kind of adopted me was another circle of friends. Tara and Tricia were at a place called Rita's Water Ice here in Pennsylvania, and those in Pennsylvania know about Rita's Water Ice, but a lot of the country doesn't. Anyway, shared what I was about to do. They started following me. Technology, put it on Facebook. Kelly was thumbing through, saw it, started to follow it, and really became a supporter. So much love to her. And again, she did what a lot of people did and reached out ahead of me and really made the journey special. But last night was just great. They welcomed us into their home. Thank you guys so much for an amazing dinner and just an amazing time. But what was so fascinating about last night, and it was beautiful, a bunch of different levels, was as it turns out, her husband, Jason, they're both school teachers, but Jason himself had written a book, and they didn't invite me over with any agenda. I didn't accept the offer to go over with any agenda. It was just people meeting people. But they gave me a lot of insight. Kelly's had me talk to her class a couple of times via live stream or FaceTimes. Her class has been great. They've invited me to the school. I'm excited to go to the school. I don't know if I'll be talking just to her class or an auditorium full of kids, but the point of some message really starts with the young people. And I'm excited to share some of what I've experienced on the journey, answering any questions they have. It's just been terrific. But yesterday was great for a lot of reasons. One, it was great just because, again, people that were essentially strangers came together and just talked and shared thoughts. But I'm always watching. I'm always looking for little things. And one of the things that really struck me, and this has happened a lot on the journey, was this thing where there's gaps and they're different. Kelly was raised, and it was almost funny, as I'm going to get to. Kelly was raised in church, and when you're raised a certain way, when you religion and politics are two topics that people just are completely passionate about, and she's certainly devout in her belief. Her husband had never really been, and then I don't know the details, but in the last year or so, he's had his own awakening of spirituality. So much so that he actually wrote his own book, and I'm actually holding this book. It's available. It's called Return to Eden. It's a quick read. I'm about halfway through it just this morning. It's only 100 pages, and there's a lot I find interesting. I could talk for about an hour just on last night and the people, and I'm already down to less than 6 minutes here. So, but what I found interesting was the respect they have for each other. Again, here's somebody that was, devoutly religious, and Jason hadn't been. And then he went on his own spiritual journey, which really is a bit different than Kelly's. And she's maybe even a little hesitant to read the book because it's different from what her upbringing was. But what I found fascinating about the reading I've done and about Jason's approach to it is his take on oneness and spirituality and things like that. And I hope I'm not boring anybody with this. I don't mean to be, because it's not about religion. It's about perspective and his perspective. And I'd encourage you all. I believe it's available on Amazon or Kindle. Again, it's called Return to Eden. It's not a very long book. Again, I'm halfway through it in about 45 minutes this morning to show you what a quick read it is. But what I love is his perspective, and that's what he's given. He has his own view. And when I came to realize in reading it, one is I don't agree with everything he said, but I do agree with some of the things he says for sure. But that causes me to, and this is where I think you should read it. Even if you have your beliefs, is not to turn around and say everything he says is right or belief, but here's another fellow human being, and this is how he sees things. And what it did for me, and I hope it would do for you if you go ahead and purchase the book, is it gives you pause to stop and go, well, okay, I see that point of view. I see that kind of thought process, and I see it from that standpoint. And I thought that was really neat. So, and what happened was he didn't, again, he wasn't going to mention the book. My point is we got together last night. There was no agenda. They asked me about what's going to happen next for PTT. I shared that with them. To my surprise, they want to be part of it. They want to be part of the business. If we go business, they want to be part of the foundation as we create the foundation. They shared some insights. I think it's remarkable for myself when you commit to writing a book. I can't really explain it. We all have thoughts, right? But there is a certain sense of accomplishment when you sit down and create something. You're leaving a part of you. I mean, this is a part of Jason at this point in time. When I do my books, and I have several already underway. I have several, and there's a part of you in it, and I got to respect anybody that does that. Watching the kids play. It just the whole night was almost surreal and so warm and welcoming. And I look forward to meeting other families. I've met them. I'm looking forward to introducing my family to other families and other people on the journey that's been so good to me. So last night was the first of what I hope is many. The business is going to move forward. They shared some terrific insights. One of the things that I think is kind of cool, I'm not sure how to do it yet, but so just so you guys know, along with the Journey novel or novels, not novels, the Journey books, I'm writing a novel, but I'm also doing a children's series. And one of the things that I'm looking for with the children's series is an illustrator, but an idea that came to light last night, which I think is brilliant, is I'm going to approach school districts. And again, we're trying to form a sense of community, a sense of self, a sense of one. And I think I'm going to approach the school districts and ask if they have an art department that the kids would like to illustrate the book, the children's series. And again, the nice part about the children's series and the point of the message is it could be, I have some degree of intelligence and confidence, and I hope, what's the word I'm looking for? I won't say competence, but I hope I'm a good writer. I think I will be. Some folks have told me I'm pretty decent on the video, even though I don't feel so. I feel a little awkward. I feel much more comfortable in person. But the nice thing about the point of the message is you can tailor it to younger kids, elementary school kids. You can tailor it to middle school kids as the story goes. So a school district, if they're on board, certainly can, from the sales of the books, generate money for themselves in that regard. But I just think it would be neat for a school district to say, hey, this book was illustrated by the artwork of, fill in the school district here, my kid's school district, Central York School District. The problem is I need to be able to reach out to the districts and make that happen. So there were a lot of thought sharing last night, a lot of ideas, a lot of love, a lot of getting to know each other. It was great. I always love when the kids get together and you say, hey, it's kind of time to go, and they don't want to go, and hey, can we watch a movie for 2 or 3 more hours? But all that means is that, hey, you know what, we're going to do this again. We're going to get together again. This isn't the end of it. It was a great first meeting, and so forth. So there was so much to take away from last night, guys. Again, I'm not here to preach religion to you. I am not an organized religion guy. I'm finding my own spirituality, which I've just tried to touch upon on this journey without, making that a big deal. But today's a big step for me. My family and myself are going to church as a family for the first time, and I'm exposing my kids to something or letting them be exposed to it, and then they can make their own decisions from there. So I love you guys. Thanks for listening. There's so much more to tell you about yesterday, but I'll wrap it up with that. I love you. Return to Eden is a book by Jason Ryder. Look it up on Amazon. I love you guys. Have a great day.